Get off the sideline. Time to get in the game.
Hey, welcome back to the Triple Play Performance Podcast. This is Dr. Mike Okouchi coming back with another episode. And I'm going to jump straight into it. On this episode is all about answering your questions. So we're going to answer some of the top questions that I get on social media that you guys have emailed me and some of the things that patients have asked me. We're currently in Hawaii now. We made our transition here, and over the past 3, maybe 4 weeks now, we've been unloading all of our things that we transported from California and getting situated here. So, aloha from the lovely state of Hawaii. All right, let's jump straight into it. One of the top questions that I've gotten was, how do you actually change your mindset when you're trying to improve your health? And that's one of the big things I talk about when you embark on any type of health transformation, health regimen. You want to improve your health, it starts with mindset. And that's why I call it the triple play performance. Is we focus on the mind, the body, and your nutrition as well. But the biggest part is your mind, because I see a lot of patients who are eating well, they're taking the right supplements, they're doing the right exercise, they're keeping active, but yet the state of their body is just not where they want it to be. And what I've found over the past 14, 15 years of being in practice is that it boils down to their mindset. And they come from a mindset of worry, right? They're doing the things that are healthy, and they're doing the exercises and all the dietary nutritional supplements. They're doing all those things with fear. That's why they're embarking on these things. So whenever your body's in this state of fear, there's a stress hormone attached to that, versus you're doing it with a sense of gratitude, you're doing it with a sense of ease and calm, and you're enjoying it. Another thing that I see a lot of people embark on is they're so stressed about eating organic and eating the right amount of calories or low carbohydrates. And they're so stressed about that because they want to either lose weight, they want to help reverse some type of disease that's going on, that their body just doesn't respond to what they're doing because of their mindset, right? So you're not familiar with, you may probably either go through this yourself, or you may know of somebody that is going through this type of mindset blockage. So what do you need to do? All right. Well, what I tell patients is that you need to step back and you need to look at the bigger picture and really come from a place of gratitude, right? I mean, you've probably heard that from a million people, but it's the truth. You have to start with gratitude. Start with, what are the things that you're grateful for? I mean, maybe you're eating something that you that's not necessarily healthy for you, but are you doing it in a state of gratitude? You could be eating something that's really healthy for you, but if you're doing it because you're stressed out, that you need to lose weight, that you need to reverse your disease process, you're not coming from a state of gratitude, but rather you're coming from a state of fear. So the biggest issue there is reversing the mindset and coming from a state of gratitude and really looking at the things and looking at what life is about. So that's the first thing that I always start off patients with, the mindset portion. Now, another thing that goes along with mindset is really looking at what you're doing in the grand scheme of things. Okay, what I mean by that is I laugh because it's such an irony. As human beings, we have a mindset that we have this fear of dying, right? And that's one of the things that a lot of patients tell me is that, Doc, I'm so scared of dying. I'm doing this because I want to prevent death. And if you look at that inherent mindset, that mindset is one of, it doesn't make sense, right? Because every single human is going to die. I don't mean to be morbid, but that's the truth of the situation, is that death is a part of life. You saw it in The Lion King. It's the circle of life, right? And if you go and you lead your life with the fear of death, which is very common for almost every single human being, but if you lead your life and you're doing the things that you're trying to prevent death, you're not actually living. So one of the things I always encourage patients is to look at their life and look at the things that they're doing and coming from a standpoint of maximizing their life rather than trying to prevent death, because you can never prevent death. That's the fact, right? We're all going to die. So you got to look at your life and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go do this because, hey, it makes me happy, right? I'm not saying, do something really stupid or whatever. What I'm saying is look at the things and say, hey, you know what? It's okay if I go to IHOP and have a pancake every now and then, rather than slaving over yourself and trying to eat, the next green superfood or whatever. And I see so many people stressing over that kind of stuff when it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things from a mindset standpoint. If you're stressing out over eating healthy, you're defeating the purpose of it. You need to come from a standpoint of enjoying life and doing the things that you need to do. And that's the same thing that goes with if you're going through a major health crisis. I know this is the most difficult part, but when you're going through a major health crisis, whatever it may be, it could be life-threatening. It could not be life-threatening. When you lose your health, you feel like the world's going to end. I've been there. I've seen patients go through that. But when you come from a mindset of, you know what, I'm going to enjoy my life no matter what. I'm not going to let the disease, I'm not going to let the dysfunction dictate my life. Rather than live in fear, you know what? It's going to permeate no matter what, right? It's like I've had patients that says, I'm doing this because I want to remain young. I'm like, okay, that's stupidity in and of itself as well. So it comes from a mindset of gratitude and really living life, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So if you're living your life stressed, what exactly are you living for, right? So this is the place where I start with all patients, because if you never remove that mindset of fear, that mindset of worry, the rest of your body never really gets to heal. That's one of the major emotions that keeps your body from healing, is the emotion of fear and worry. It basically shuts down all energetic flow through your entire body, through all the organs. So it comes with starting with realizing and looking at things for what it is, right? You are going to die, so you might as well focus on living and then step into a place of gratitude. That's where you want to start off with your mindset. All right. Next question that I always get is, how do I know where to start when there's so much information out there? How do I know where to start, right? In this day and age, we suffer from the exact polar opposite of what we were going through, I want to say maybe 20, 30 years ago. 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have as much available information. A lot of research wasn't widely published. We didn't have the extensive amount of information going through Google. We didn't have as much social media. And, our main source of health information typically came from our doctors. And the majority of the information that they got was fed to them from either a pharmaceutical company, or if they actually read any of the medical journals. Nowadays, you are privy to whatever information I mean, you don't even have to go on the computer anymore. I mean, you can just jump on your cell phone and you can get access to any type of information. You know, you're listening to this podcast probably on your cell phone. And there are thousands of podcasts. There are millions of YouTube videos. There are hundreds of millions of blog articles out there on whatever health topic you would want to research. And herein lies the problem, is that you get conflicting information. And you know what? A lot of that information, even though it's conflicting, is absolutely correct. You know, I've seen research studies come out and say multivitamins helps prevent heart disease, and I've seen the exact opposite, research paper come out saying that it causes it. And if you read it, they're both actually correct until you really understand why they're correct. You know, so that's where a lot of people are getting hit over the head, is they get so much information, and a lot of it is conflicting information. They don't know what diets to partake in. They don't know what exercise regimen is great for them. And the key thing that is missing here is for them or for you. You know, because a lot of the information that's out there is just information, but each person has a different blueprint as far as their needs. You know, and what I always equate it to is you have your own health puzzle. Right? There are millions, there are billions of different health puzzles going on, and your own health puzzle, by the way, changes through time. So your health puzzle a year ago is totally different than your health puzzle currently. And a lot of us go about trying to solve our health puzzle with two major issues. One is we don't even know the picture, the puzzle, right? We don't even know the picture we're trying to put together. And two, we're trying to put that picture together blindfolded. So have you ever tried to put together a jigsaw puzzle that has 1,000 pieces? You don't even know what picture it makes, and you're trying to do it blindfolded. It's like next to impossible. I mean, it's hard enough in and of itself to put a jigsaw puzzle that has 1,000 pieces together in a timely fashion. But try doing it without knowing what picture you're making, without any reference, and then without being able to see what you're doing. That's basically what a lot of people are going through. And that's why I get that question. How do I know where to start? And the answer to that, and the answer that I had to come to terms with, is you need help. You know, I tried to do it on my own when my health went south, and I just couldn't do it. And I needed to seek out help, you know, and that's why there's specific professions for that. You know, like I've seen people try to build their own houses, and they wasted a lot of time, money, and effort, and their houses didn't even come out nearly as well as when they hired a contractor. I've done this numerous times in my businesses, and I've done this with my health. I could have saved myself a lot of time, heartache, a lot of money by contracting a professional. But a lot of people, what we try to do is we try to do this on our own. So for me to give a concrete answer to this question of where to start, it's different for every single person. And what you need to do is you need to work with somebody that will help you to see the bigger picture. What is the picture you're trying to solve? And then instead of you doing it blindfolded, they become your eyes. Now, what I recommend is working with somebody that's going to guide you and not do it for you, which is what a lot of people want. They want somebody else to do it for them. But you know what? I can show you what a bike looks like. I can show you what a bike does. But until you jump on the bike and start doing it yourself, you really don't know what's going on. So you need to be working with somebody that's going to guide you along the way, that's going to help put the puzzle together in a comprehensible fashion that you can understand, so that you can get the end result. And the end result isn't to know that you have a lot of pieces of the puzzle. The end result is putting the puzzle together to make a comprehensive picture. All right, that's the goal of it all. Because the information age which we are in gives you and points out that you have 1,000 pieces to your puzzle. What the information age does not give you is it doesn't give you the step-by-step solution to make the picture. You could care less when you open the box of the puzzle that you have 1,000 pieces. What you want is the picture that the pieces of the puzzles make. And that's the one issue that a lot of us suffer from, is we seek out more and more information, and it gets us more and more confused. Because all it's doing is telling you you have 1,000 pieces to the puzzle. Sometimes, here's what even gets worse, is you start adding on more pieces to your puzzle that doesn't even belong there. So instead of you having 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, you now have a 4,000-piece jigsaw puzzle with pieces that does not need to be there, which is not even part of the picture. So you guys can kind of see how this becomes so difficult to deal with. And now when you've added on more pieces to the puzzle, what actually has to happen is the person that you work with has to then look at what you've been given and then take out the things that does not need to be there. And that's where I spend a lot of time with patients. Is I spend numerous hours is taking out information from their mindset. You know, I started off with this with mindset. I have to take out the information that's been planted in there that's not serving them on their journey. So, where do you need to start? Well, every single person is different. You know, I wish I could give you a concrete answer that, you know, I see a lot of health gurus do that, by the way. They say, this is exactly what you need to do. Nope, doesn't work that way. Every single person is different. I mean, I've treated hundreds and hundreds of patients that have the exact same medical diagnosis, and every single person has to start at a different place, because a diagnosis doesn't really mean anything, right? It's like your fingerprints. You have a different fingerprint from the next person, and that's what happens in your health. Everybody has a different health fingerprint. So where do you start is determined upon what's going on currently. And like I said, it changes over time. So you imagine you're trying to do a puzzle that the pieces change over time and also the picture changes over time. And you're blindfolded. It gets really, really difficult. So don't leave it up to yourself and try to do this by yourself. You got to be working with an expert. Another question that I get is, can you be eating healthy, not eating meat, but adding stuff like collagen, bone broth, and liver supplements? Now, I answer this question in two different ways. Can you be healthy with not eating meat? Well, one is, it depends upon your definition of healthy. Most people's definition of healthy is to not have symptoms. My definition of healthy is making sure that your cells receive all the information and all the nutrition that it needs to function, gets rid of all the toxins, and it's functioning optimally. So you got to look at your cells as like a factory, and everybody has their own specific job. Everybody's doing their job at the most efficiency and putting out what they need to do correctly, right? So that's, to me, that's healthy. When you look at the idea of not eating meat, well, that comes from another mindset thing where they've been fed information about meat. Meat inherently is not bad. There's been a lot of political propaganda for it. Some of the propaganda I agree with. Some, you know, the humane or inhumane ways that a lot of livestock's raised, I agree with. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's not correct. I would rather have humanely grown livestock and in their wild setting. But now the other standpoint is, well, A lot of people say, well, you should never eat meat. Now, I don't agree with that either. You know, if you look back in anthropological things, you see that almost every single human being is an omnivore. We eat both plants and animals. The problem that we face today is a lot of propaganda, a lot of political issues, but one of the biggest things is that people don't understand that as humans we are part of the food chain. We are not outside of it. We are not at the top of the food chain, by the way. We are part of it. And being part of the food chain means that you are subject to seasonality and geography. So, I never say that you can never be a vegan or vegetarian, and I never say that you should only eat meat. You know, there's the carnivore diet, there's all these things. The way that we've survived for thousands and thousands of years is that we ate what we could find, basically. We were hunter-gatherers. So if a buffalo came around, we would hunt the buffalo and we'd eat it, right? In times where game wasn't in abundance, we would be relying on what was growing in our local environment, and we would partake in that. So it was rare to find any type of human being that was a strict vegetarian or a strict carnivore. We were omnivores according to geography and seasonality, right? But the question that I get is, can you be healthy by not eating meat? If that was the question, the answer is no. But then the second part of the question is, but adding in collagen, bone broth, and liver supplements. Now, the answer to, or putting those things in and answering the question now becomes possibly, right? You can get your array of nutrients from bone broth and collagen and liver supplementation or eating organ meats. Now, if you go back and you look at hunter-gatherer societies, the majority of what was consumed from animal products was the organ meats. A lot of tribal societies actually got rid of the flesh meats and they only ate the organ meats. And that's the highest concentration of nutrients in an animal, by the way. So it grosses a lot of people out. You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not bending over backwards right now to, you know, get a liver, fry up some liver. But, you know, that's the biggest source of nutrients in an animal. So, and unfortunately, a lot of propaganda has surrounded that idea. But if you're looking at straight biology, biochemistry, you need the full array of nutrients. Can you supplement for that? Yes, you can, but you're not going to get the results that you need or desire. I mean, I always tell patients this: you can't supplement your way to health. You know, a supplement is called a supplement for a reason. You know, it needs to be preceded by a proper diet. So you got to be eating the correct things and then supplementing to fill in the gaps. You know, so that's where it needs to be. So I'm gonna leave a bunch of the other questions for another episode, because I have an entire list of these questions. But what I wanted to share with you guys is that I answer a lot of these questions, and maybe you have direct questions. And what I'd encourage you is take a look at the group coaching that I offer patients. You know, I mean, it may be for you where, you know, you get to jump on board, and I have a whole suite of things that you can go through that may address your current health topic. And then what I do is on a weekly basis, I jump on and do a Q&A session with you. I'll maybe walk through a certain cases, certain case types, and give you a recommendation of what you can do. So I'll include this in the show notes, but you can go to www.tripleplayperformance.co/group coaching, right? www.tripleplayperformance.co/group coaching. And you'll be able to see the different things within that course. You register in it. There's right now, as you're listening to this podcast, there's a steep discount of $47 a month. That's less than most people's internet subscription. That's less than most people's cell phone subscription. So this is a subscription for your health. Pack it alongside of, most people spend more money on Starbucks per month. The information that I'm giving you within this and having me to be those set of eyes instead of you trying to navigate this journey and knowing or not knowing which pieces of the puzzles need to be there and how to put it together, for $47 a month right now. I mean, it's a steal, guys. I have patients that paid me thousands and thousands of dollars. So you get this on a monthly basis. You get to pick my brains and do all the things that you need to do to attain that optimal health. Not according to the definition that you're going in your mind of having symptom-less, but being in a state of optimal health where all of the cells in your body is functioning at optimal. I think you're worth it. I think your health is worth it. $47 a month. If you need more one-on-one contact, I do offer another coaching program. It is by application and I only take a certain amount, but the majority of you guys would highly benefit from the group coaching sessions. So for $47 a month, guys, it's a real steal. So again, www.tripleplayperformance.co/group coaching. All right, I've had fun. We're going to go head out to the beach today and go have some fun. But till the next time, I'll see you on the podcast, the Triple Play Performance Podcast. This is Dr. Mike Okuchi signing off and saying be well and aloha. Hey, if you've enjoyed this podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Connect with me on Instagram at TriplePlayDoc. Stay tuned for more episodes. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the entire world. Till the next episode, be well and aloha.